It's shortstop. That's where he earned 11 Gold Gloves, 9 straight Gold Gloves in the American League, and Brett Laurie has lent him number 13 for tonight. Here's a look at the Twins lineup. Span, Revere, Joe Mauer. Last 17 games, he's hit .364, but looks like he's not going to win the batting title. Parmalee, Plouffe, Carson, Escobar, Butera, and Florimon. The lineup set to take on Brandon Morrow.
Morrow, who will take the mound for the 21st time this season. He missed those 2.5 months with the oblique strain, so his last start against Minnesota, you have to go back to last year when he won that game 11-3. Looking to end up on a high note and try and get that 10th win, double digits for the Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays have had just 1 year in their franchise history where they've not had a pitcher win double-digit wins. So Morrow looking for that 10th win tonight. First pitch of the ball game. He's in there for a strike. We are underway. Bernard Span, center fielder in this series. Span has gone 2 for 4 with a home run. Hit a 2-run home run in the 6th last night. Late on a fastball, and Morrow's quickly ahead 0-2.
Very aggressive at the plate has been Bernard Span. He's got a very good on-base percentage, but the month of September he has been a little bit more aggressive at the plate.
Had a wrist injury that had him on the disabled list. He didn't come off the disabled list till the 12th of September and missed 14 games during that stretch. Back 3 go. How about a 3-pitch strikeout to start the game for Brandon Morrow? We'll take a look at the defense behind Morrow. In the outfield, we showed you Rajay Davis and why he won the tab. He took a home run away from Casey McGee of the Yankees. Anthony Ghost Moises here. Omar Vizquel making his 9th start at shortstop and possibly his last start at shortstop. And Danny Echeverria. Laurie at third, Gomes at first, and Aaron Sevilla behind the plate.
Before the game, they showed some of the great plays over Omar Vizquel's career, and it just brought back a lot of memories. So we have to highlight him at shortstop as he trots out there for the final time of his big league career.
Started his career in '89. You notice 13 on Vizquel's back. Normally that's the number Laurie wears. He gave it up tonight. And there's a base hit right between the legs of Morrow into center field.
As Revere rounds the back, let's take a look at the scouting report for Brandon Morrow, brought to you by Home Hardware. Homeowners helping homeowners. Brandon Morrow, he'll use that fastball and slider exclusively, but the thing about this year, he's using the curveball and the changeup just a little bit more. Fastball, he can dial it up there at 97 miles an hour if he has to, but lately he has been hitting the corners and making better pitches. Last time out, 7 innings, shutout innings against the Yankees, where he used his fastball very exclusively.
1 out, Joe Mauer. Joe Mauer is the DH against Knight, and Mauer in this series just 1 for 8. He's driven in a run, but his average has dropped. Almost 3 points on his batting average in this series.
There is some talk in the papers in Minnesota what to do with Joe Mauer, because he's going to be making $23 million next year for Minnesota. And he's played some first base this year. And there's some talk of maybe playing a little third base next year, a little catcher, give Morneau some time off and play him at first base.
Fouls it off. You know, that's a real interesting dilemma. When you look at Joe Mauer's contract, he's making $23 million a year through 2018. So it's not like it's going to go away anytime soon. But if you put his numbers behind the plate, they're very impressive. 325, 10 home runs, 85 RBIs. They don't match up when you start moving him to the corner infield positions. He doesn't have that home run threat you want at the corner infield.
But does he get better if he doesn't have to catch every single day? Does he get stronger and feel better and have even better numbers than that? If you ask him, Joe Mauer says, I think we're a better club when I'm behind the plate.
I agree with that 100%.
So do I.
I think he's a leader behind the plate. He has been, and He has played in 146 games. This is a new career high for him tonight, 147. He stayed healthy. 2-2.
Look, I saw what happened with Johnny Bench at the end of his career when he tried to play first base and third base. It just wasn't the same. I think Joe Mauer belongs behind the plate for as long as he wants to.
He's played 74 games as catcher, 30 at first, and this is now his 42nd start as the DH. Bouncing ball at the second. Echeverria quickly to Vizquel. Acrobatic play. That would have been a good way to start off his final game. Vizquel, that patented jump toss to first, but Mauer got out of the box in good shape and beats the throw to first.
Maybe earlier in his career, but yeah, we've seen that before, where you don't have to shuffle your feet and come across that runner. Just go up in the air. Not a whole lot of guys in baseball that can do that, as Omar just misses that double play.
45-year-old Omar Vizquel teams up with 23-year-old Adeiny Echeverria. The double play combination tonight. Chris Parmelee, the first baseman. Parmelee hitting .315 in 42 games. And an 8-game hit streak that ended on the 5th of September. There's a strike, the ball and a strike. Ball and a strike. We're in the first inning. 2 outs. Joe Mauer is at first. Vizquel from Venezuela really takes a lot of pride in the shortstops that the country has produced before him. Chico Carrasquel was a terrific shortstop that played with the White Sox for years. He always admired the great Luis Aparicio, who always also played with the Chicago White Sox. And when he was a young ball player growing up, Davey Concepcion of the Reds, the Big Red Machine shortstop, was somebody that he always looked up to. And now you can bet the likes of Elvis Andrus, Asdrubal Cabrera, the younger players that have come behind Vizquel, look up to Omar Vizquel.
Number 13. He wears number 13. David Concepcion wore that number with the Cincinnati Reds.
2-2. Parmelee is jammed and fights it out. Brett Lawrie loaned Omar Vizquel number 13 for this game tonight, and it's appropriate. Lawrie wears that number on a regular basis, but he is wearing Omar's number tonight. We mentioned Omar started his career with the Seattle Mariners in 1989 as a 22-year-old. Strike 3 call. Brandon Morrow off to a good start. That fastball really found the inside corner. 2 strikeouts. Omar Vizquel starting it short for the final time of his great career. hits. Take a look at the lineup now. Davis, Echeverria, Brett Laurie, top of the order. Adam Lynn swinging a hot bat to wrap up his season. John Gomes at first, JP and CB behind him, and Omar Vizquel. 2,876 career hits. He's tied for 40th with the great Mel Ott. He's third active on that list, and he's just 4 hits shy of Frankie Frisch, another great switch hitter.
That is a lineup that Scott Diamond will face tonight for the Minnesota Twins. What a season it has been for young Scott Diamond. His 27th start this season. He's 12-8 with a very good ERA of 3.54. He has faced the Blue Jays in the past. You have to go all the way back to May when he threw 7 shutout innings against the Blue Jays. This is the first time a Guelph native has started here in Toronto, but it's been a great season for the young left-hander.
First pitch to Rajay Davis is in there for a strike. Diamond grew up in Guelph. He got a lot of family and friends here. His father and mother, Jerry and Sally, are in attendance, and it looks like they're the regular baseball parents, nervous with Scott starting for the first time here close to home.
And there's nothing you can do about it. You brought a big fan club also.
Yeah, it's great. First time he's got a chance to pitch here in Toronto. He has represented Canada in World Baseball Classic in 2009. There's a ball that hits off Diamond, goes right to the first baseman, and he got a good bounce right there. Rajay Davis is retired. Appears to be okay.
Oh, that would have been a base hit with Rajay's speed if he could only get it by Diamond. Curveball, and he just kicks it. There's a nice little hockey background right there as he fires that ball, kicks it right over to Parmalee to make the first out.
It looked like Mom said, ouch. And boy, wouldn't that be something? He appears to be okay, but they're going to come out and check him to make sure he's all right. Yeah, he said, yeah. Ron Gardenhire says, you know what? You put pressure on me, you make me take you out of this game.
Yeah, he'll be fighting to try and come out of this one.
Now, you see, pointed to the left leg up around the calf, and Gardenhire is not going to allow him to pitch when he's injured, but it looks like everybody's smiling. Hey, that's the last thing you want to do is leave this game. You've got a big pass list and a whole bunch of family and friends in attendance. He's not coming out of this game. Diamond signed originally as a non-drafted free agent by the Atlanta Braves. The Twins saw him pitch in the minors, liked him, and took him in the Rule 5 draft in December of 2010. Interesting story that we will tell you about throughout the course of this game. Danny Echeverria hits a fly ball to right. 2 quick outs for Scott Diamond. Take a look at the defense behind Diamond. Twins have committed 107 errors, and we have seen Matt Carson, Denard Span, Ben Revere. Span and Revere can really cover a lot of ground in center and right. Pedro Florimon is the shortstop. Eduardo Escobar started at short last night. Booth and Parmalee at the corners, and Sal Butera is behind the plate. I said Sal, of course. That's true.
Yeah, if you can't throw to Joe Mauer, the next best option is Drew Butera. He's an excellent receiver, calls a good game, and he got a very good arm. So Scott Diamond's in good hands tonight.
Interesting matchup of WBC teammates in 2009, Brett Laurie and Scott Diamond. And they're looking forward to 2013 WBC, I'm sure.
Time for some bragging rights right here. You got all winter now to see who gets the upper hand.
Justin Morneau is not playing in this series as he's a little bit worn down at the end of the year. He hopes to play for Team Canada. And there you see the numbers from his first start against the Blue Jays. That was in Minneapolis. It was a great game. 7 innings, 5 hits. He didn't allow a run, didn't walk a batter, and struck out 4. That was our first look at Scott Diamond, and he was impressive.
Very efficient going those 7 innings and just 5 base hits. He was ahead of the count all day long.
Well, he doesn't appear to have any nerves pitching in front of a lot of family and friends. It took him just 9 pitches to set the Blue Jays down in order. In the first, strikes out Brett Laurie. version of the Battle of Alberta takes place on Friday, October 12th, as Cody Sylvester and the Calgary Hitmen take on the Edmonton Oil Kings. Friday Night Hockey returns to Sportsnet October 12th. Beautiful Rogers Center with the roof closed tonight. Final game of the season. Kings and Blue Jays wrapping up a 3-game set. And what a day for baseball once again. Just like last year on the final day of the season. Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn told you about the Oakland A's and their surprising upset of the Texas Rangers. And I don't care who you like and who's your favorite team, but that was an upset for them to come into Oakland and be swept at the hands of the A's. Oakland wins the West.
I think it was a foregone conclusion 2 months ago that Texas was going to win the West and they were going to win it by a big margin. And they would be able to set up their pitching rotation. They've had home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Now it might be panic mode time in Texas.
Pop back over the screen. I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be on that charter plane going back to Arlington tonight. That's not going to be a happy bus. You get on that plane and everybody's going to start looking around, and there's going to be some finger pointing. Josh Hamilton, as Greg Zahn mentioned in the pregame show, had misplayed a fly ball in the outfield that led to 2 runs and gave Oakland the lead. Good breaking ball as Morrow strikes out Poof.
Well, he's establishing his fastball early in this game as Brandon Morrow, and then to the righties, if you've got them thinking fastball, you can just throw that slider and you're going to pick up a lot of strikeouts. If he continues to use that fastball with that slider, it's going to be a big strikeout night for Brandon Morrow.
3 strikeouts already. Matt Carson, the left fielder. Yeah, the Texas loss runs their record to 93-69. Oakland improved to 94-68. And the interesting part comes now with the Yankees and the Orioles playing. And the fastball away. The Yankees go into the game tonight with Boston 94 wins and 67 losses. Baltimore 93-68. So there could be some jostling back and forth between the number 1 seeds.
And any way you slice it. There's that slider again. He is locked in early. 3 strikeouts in a row, 4 total tonight. The second one with a slider down and away. And the right-handed hitting. Matt Carson didn't have any chance on that one.
You might need a few more of those before the night's over.
You might have to get creative in making some of those Ks with the way he is throwing. To finish up on Texas, can they come back from that little mini problem that they've just run into?
I'll address that. I don't think it's a mini problem.
Well, it has to be if you're a Texas Ranger. That's how you have to look at it.
I mean, they go into Oakland and they get swept by the A's. But after Hamilton dropped the ball, he came in after that half inning, and Ron Washington went down there and had a pretty animated conversation with his center field. That's the part that concerns me more than anything. Because after that, then you saw a couple players come over and pat Josh on the back.
Maybe a little friction happening in the down on the bench. Texas had scored 5 runs, and it looked like they were going to win that game. They were going to coast to it. And the next thing you know, Oakland scored 6, took the lead, and then never looked back.
Never looked back once they had that fly ball drop in center. It was the 3rd out of the inning. Hamilton was basically running off the field. Brandon Morrow brought the A game tonight. He strikes out the side in the 2nd. He has 5 already in this game. He gets Trevor Plouffe to start the inning on a good slider. Matt Carson, another slider, and Eduardo Escobar
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware and building center location. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Welcome back to Rogers and Omar Vizquel, starting at shortstop tonight in his final game in an illustrious 24-year career. Adam Lynn takes a first pitch strike from Scott Diamond. Ball and a strike, Adam Lind. Really starting to swing the bat well again. Unfortunately, he's running out of games. Had a 4-hit game 2 nights ago. His second 4-hit game of the season. He's really hit well since coming off the disabled list. His batting average for the season is up to .254.
And the production is starting to come around, and that's the type of hitter that the Blue Jays envision this year.
One thing he talks about, his stroke has come around with a different mindset. He said he got a little bit too conservative early in the season, was concerned about getting on base and drawing more walks, and found himself behind in the count most of the time. Well, Dwayne Murphy's been preaching, look for a fastball and let it buck all season long.
Yeah, even if it's the first pitch of the at-bat, you got to let it go. And he's there to drive in some runs. This is what Adam has done over his last 21 games. There's the numbers: .345 batting average, an OPS of .937, 12 RBIs, in the 9 extra base hits. That's what I like, the extra base hits. Drive in those runs. That's why you're hitting in the middle of the lineup.
Alex Anthopoulos had a meeting with the press today and kind of recapped the season. And he was asked about Adam Lind and asked about how he fits into the future plans of the Blue Jays. And he first said, well, he signed and we want him to be a big part of this. But he believes that Lind can recapture that stroke he had in 2009. Leadoff walk to Adam Lind.
Let's take a look at the scouting report for Scott Diamond now. He's a strike thrower. It's like your typical Twins pitcher. Get it over, and he does that 60% of the time with the fastball. It's right at 90 miles per hour. He's got the changeup and the curveball. The difference between Scott Diamond this year and last year, he's cut his walks in half. He's cut his ERA by a run and a half, and his batting average against 43 points lower because he's throwing more strikes, more quality pitches.
Ken Gomes gets the start tonight.
You can't keep falling behind hitters and walking hitters and moving those pitches in there. Just go right after them. Have that aggressive approach, and I think good things are going to happen.
Diamond pitched in high school in Guelph and did not get drafted. He had an opportunity to go to Binghamton University, State University of New York at Binghamton, and he went undrafted after his junior year. But then he went to pitch for the Martinsville Mustangs in the Coastal Plain League, a summer league for collegiates, and that's where the Braves saw him and identified him and signed him and got him into their organization. Bob Elliott of the Toronto Sun wrote a great story about Scott Diamond in today's paper and talked about how he was always overlooked. He was never one of the front guys and everybody looked at, but he always knew he could pitch and maintained the confidence, but really gained confidence pitching for Team Canada.
Didn't really come through the Canadian Junior National Program like a lot of the good Canadian players do. But he kept after it, kept playing, and we've said it all year long. If you're good enough, somebody's going to find you. And somebody from the Braves found him, and he got off to a great start in his pro career.
He played for Team Ontario and played for the great coach Danny Thompson, and he had the confidence, had the ability to pitch, and he always had a great pickoff move. And here he gets the ball right back to him, throws to second for one, back to the first double play. Diamond starts the 1-4-3 double play.
Once you get rid of that baseball, you're a fielder. Shows his athleticism right there by fielding it. He takes the throw a little bit towards the shortstop side of second base. A nice adjustment there at second base by Eduardo Escobar.
JP Arancibia steps in the batter's box with 2 outs. Arancibia has faced Diamond. He was 0 for 3 in that game back in Minneapolis early in May. It's the first pitch strike. Diamond, and you'll notice some similarities, but he patterns himself after Cliff Lee. He got that straight upright delivery and just tries to throw a lot of strikes. You can see how he kind of looks over his right shoulder, peeking at that catcher's mitten. Something that Cliff Lee has done very effectively throughout his career.
He's got a very good delivery. It's clean, it's repeatable, it really stays together. Nothing flies open, and he can come right over the top and right out of that same arm slot. We've seen his changeup, we've seen his curveball, we've seen his fastball. When you're working downhill like that, when you're staying together, working downhill, getting on top of the baseball, you're going to throw strikes.
Arancibia way out in front on that breaking ball. It's 2-2. Scoreless ball game. Bottom of the second inning. Scott Diamond hooked up with Brandon Morrow. Another breaking ball. Arancibia strikes out. Another good inning for Scott Diamond. Picks up his second strikeout of the game. A good curveball gets JP Arancibia. We're through 2. It's scoreless. Vancouver Whitecaps in MLS action will look forward to a little closer to clinching the number 5 spot and final playoff spot in the Western Conference. Catch all the action live on West and Pacific, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. Whitecaps FC on Sportsnet. Final crowd of the season here at Rogers Center. Blue Jays have won the first 2 games of this series against Minnesota. And Brandon Morrow's off to a great start to his night. 2 innings, 5 strikeouts, including striking out the side in the second.
This started in his last start against the Yankees. He was dialing up that fastball and putting it where he needed to. That was the one thing that I've noticed about Morrow since he has come back from that oblique strain. Each time out, his command gets a little bit better. Just before he went on the disabled list, he was throwing that fastball where he wanted to.
Well, it's not unusual, and John Farrell, pitcher in his playing days, also a great pitching coach, understands that spring training is 6 weeks long so the pitchers can get into shape. This is the 8th start for Morrow coming off the disabled list, and he should be in midseason form now. This is about where he was at the time he got hurt. He had made 11 starts the day he got injured. He's pitched 7 games against the Twins with mixed results, 6.10 ERA.
Only one of those is start, though. Just one start, and that was that win he had last May back in Minnesota. But you're right. It's about getting back into shape. And it's not just your arm getting back into shape. It's your legs. It's your mind. It's everything. When you miss so much time on the disabled list, and remember with that oblique strain, he couldn't do any throwing. He couldn't do anything to keep that arm in shape. So he was starting from scratch.
Butera hangs tough and fouls it back. We mentioned Morrow had made 11 starts before he injured himself on June 11th. He came out of that ball game after just 9 pitches. But in those first 10 starts, he threw 3 shutouts. He was leading baseball with the time with 3 shutouts. He had a 2-hit shutout in his previous start at Chicago against the White Sox, had a 3-hitter right here against the Mets, and then had another 3-hitter out in L.A. against the Angels early in the season. I mean, he was dealing. And that was literally the best stretch of his career. And at the time, he was throwing as well as anybody in baseball.
Yeah, at that time, he was commanding everything. Had some high strikeout games, but not the type of games that we have seen him in the past. The boomer bust type of games where he'd have 12 strikeouts and a ton of walks. Everything was under control. And it takes about 5, maybe even 6 starts since coming off the DL to get that arm back into shape.
Popped into shallow center. Vizquel back. He'll make the call and make the catch. 1 down. Brandon Morrow made the transition from bullpen to starter immediately when he joined the Blue Jays, and his numbers are getting better with each year here in Toronto.
All the numbers that you want to see go down are happening now. The whip, that's the walk plus hits divided by innings pitched, going down. Right now he is tied for 6th in the American League at 1-1, which is very good. Opponent's batting average at .222, which is 4th in the American League. Don't get runners on base and don't give them a chance to get hits. You're going to win a lot of ball games.
Pedro Florimon, the shortstop. Bouncing ball. Big hop for Echeverria. 2 down.
You know, I think Alex Anthopoulos said it best when we had him on at the beginning of this homestand for the final time. When Brandon Morrow is on the mound, we're a different looking team. He's a big league pitcher. He can get guys out. He can overpower you. And the whole team just looks differently when he's on the mound.
Yeah, I don't care who you are. And Tampa Bay was the best example of that. They didn't have much of an offense all year long. And they played right up to the last week of the season with a chance to go into the postseason on the strength of their starting pitchers.
Throw another one in out at you there with Tampa. No hitting, no defense either. Last year they were a great defensive team. You combine that with their great pitching and they're in the playoffs. This year just on pitching, starting and relieving, they almost got into the playoffs. If they hit a little bit and if they catch the ball just a little bit better, I think they're back in the playoffs.
Top of the order, Bernard Span looks at a changeup that's a strike. It's 1-1. Minnesota's got some work to do. Terry Ryan is here with the ball club. He is the GM that has returned to his former position. Ryan stepped down. He's got kind of burnt out, moved into the scouting department from where he got his start, but he is back now as the GM.
And they're a lot like the Blue Jays. When you talk about their minor league system, a lot of their top-notch prospects are in A-ball or in the lower rungs of the minor league, so it's going to take them a couple of years to get back to that team that won all those division titles in a row. And they're talking about how are we going to get some pitching.
That's hard to come by. And I don't care who you are. You just can't go out and say, okay, we got all this money. We're going to wave it at you and you should come to our team. It's not that easy. You have to have an attractive ball club, first of all. Some place where a free agent thinks he can win. And then you're going to have competition from the other clubs. And then geography gets into it. Guy might want to be in Florida. Guy might want to be in California. Who knows? Might want to be in Chicago. And you have to deal with all those things. So it's not just about the money. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. High fly ball to right. Moises Sierra moves underneath it, makes a catch, and The Twins go down in order. Brandon Morrow has retired 8 straight. Omar Vizquel will get his first at bat in his final game. Moises Sierra and Anthony Gose.
Omar Vizquel.
Omar Vizquel, and a nice acknowledgement from the crowd here, and he looks to me to be very emotional about the reality of his great career coming to an end. Changes that off-speed pitch down and away. Vizquel is tied for 40th spot on the all-time hits list with Mel Ott. Frankie Frisch is next. He is 4 hits ahead of Ott and Vizquel. This game is being broadcast to Venezuela, and they've got quite a crew of color analysts. Robbie Alomar on the left of your screen and Luis Aparicio on the right. Vizquel goes around and strikes out. Omar Vizquel had the honor of throwing out the first pitch tonight, and he got a nice ovation from the crowd up here. Mayor doing the honors, and Omar Vizquel acknowledged the great crowd here are here to honor his great career.
You know, I'm with you. I watching him, I get the feeling he's very emotional tonight, and there's so many things that go through your mind when you know it's your last day. It's something you've been doing your whole life, and you won't be putting that uniform on as a player anymore. As a player,
a couple of his former teammates, and Andres Galarraga on the right and Carlos Baerga on the left, and great baseball players in their own right. Yeah, I can sense that this all of a sudden has hit him like a ton of bricks. Like, this will be it.
Yep. 24 years in the big leagues, where you get into that. Okay, it's January. Spring training is right around the corner, and you start, you're doing your workouts, and you're getting ready for another baseball season, and all that. That's all coming to an end. That lifestyle that you have lived your whole life, there's changes on the horizon, and it can be very emotional.
It's an unknown area. We have gone through that before, and Vizquel, like so many of us, has been a ball player his whole life. I mean, Omar is unique. He's a renaissance man for sure. There's a line drive. Sierra is out there. 2 outs. We're going to check in quickly with Jamie Campbell. Dice game at Suzaka pitching for Boston, and the Yankees have a 1-game lead over the Baltimore Orioles, and if the Yankees win, it's over. They win the East. No matter what Baltimore does, it's a done deal. He's got a little dicey for New York last night. Raul Ibanez, the hero in that game again.
How many big hits has he come up with in the month of September for the Yankees?
Anthony Ghost gives it a ride all the way out to right center. Hits at the base of the wall, and Ghost can fly. He's around second. Here he goes to third, and he'll get there with a stand-up triple. Ghost with the triple. 2 outs. Once again, let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Evan Longoria is a big part of that team that the Rays really missed. He missed 85 games with that torn hamstring, and hard to score runs when you lose your biggest bat. Ghost at third base with his 3rd triple of the season. I don't even know if he realized how close he was to an inside the park home run.
I noticed it, and I was like, oh, they got a chance to send him, because the ball went out into the outfield, and it rattled around out there. And this young man right here can fly. He was around second base before they even got to the ball into the outfield. And I thought they really had a shot. It would have taken a perfect throw, I think, to get him at the plate.
Rajay Davis singles to left. Ghost jogs home. Davis drives in the first run of the ball game. It's 1-0 Jays. We're going to take another look at that Anthony Ghost triple to give you an idea just how fast he is.
Well, he hits it, he squares it up, and he knows it's going to stay in the ballpark. You know as a hitter if the ball's going to leave or not. And he knows that this one's going to stay in, so he's got a chance for 3. He cuts the corners so beautifully, hits the inside part of that bag, and you can see how quickly he gets around to third base. That ball was caught by the cutoff man in deep right center field when he was at third base.
Yeah, you're right. He would have taken a very strong, accurate throw to get him at the plate. So Brandon Morrow has a 1-0 lead. Danny Echeverria goes after that breaking ball. Take a look at the angle of Ghost rounding second. And he just has the ability to make that shallow turn. He never really drifts too far at all. He cuts the angle very close at second base, and that's why he's so quick around the bases. Takes good turns around each of the bases.
And you can be the fastest guy in the world, but you can save a lot of steps if you make good turns at the bag. A lot of times guys will go around the bag and they'll go way out and they'll bend out too far into the outfield as they start to head to the next base. Those little things like that can be the difference from being out and safe.
Davis has a huge lead at first, and there he goes. No chance at all for Utero. Scott Diamond was looking right at Rajay Davis as he took off, and Diamond couldn't change directions. Number 46 for Rajay.
And this is why Rajay got the tabby today, the unsung hero. He picks up the big 2-out RBI, and now he gets himself in the scoring position without a throw.
There he goes to third. Little looper, that's going to drop in center. Davis will breeze around third and come in to score. Adeiny Echeverria continues to impress. He picks up his 15th RBI of the season.
Pretty impressive ball player with the glove on the bases, and now with the bat, that is starting to come around. Stays right with that curveball. Doesn't give any ground, lets it back to him, and then he just lofts it in the center field for another RBI. That's going to score Rajay easily. 2-0 Blue Jays.
You know what I notice with Echeverria is that every swing isn't 100%. He's got the ability to adjust his swing and cover the baseballs. If it's down and away, he'll take a little bit off the effort and just go down and stay with it.
Which I think is a little bit different than the Echeverria we saw when he first came up. Everything was max effort. Everything was swinging as hard as you can. You don't have to. Use your hands and generate that bat speed that way.
Brett Lawrie struck out his first time up. Diamond got him with a curveball. Brett Lawrie wearing number 17 tonight. In case you're just tuning in, he has volunteered to pass that number 13 over to Omar Vizquel, making his final start of his career. Three and 0 to Lawrie.
Give him the green light right here. Left-handed pitcher out there. He doesn't blow it by you. Pick one out right here. See how far you can hit it.
Three and 0. Had the green light. Bounces it to third. Trevor Plouffe. Low throw, but Lawrie is out. The inning is over, but the Blue Jays get a pair. Rajay Davis and Adeiny Echeverria drive in two. Brandon Morrow has a 2-0 lead. Enjoying those big comfy green chairs in the TD Comfort Zone are guests from Frontier College. The TD Comfort Zone, courtesy of TD. Final game of the season at Rogers Center. Brandon Morrow trying to put a bow on his season. Had a great start, and he's trying to come up with a great finish. Injury robbed him of the middle. Ben Revere shows bunt. Takes the ball downstairs. Quite a day in baseball, as we mentioned. Oakland wins the American League West in improbable fashion. They were behind 5-1 at one point, and then stormed back to score 6 and take the lead.
What did you think of Oakland when we were in spring training? March, we're down in Dunedin, we're doing a Blue Jays game. If I said Oakland A's to you, what would you have said?
AAA. They had a bunch of unknown guys, and they had a couple of guys that had been untested. Josh Reddick had been a part-time player in Boston. Didn't really have a shortstop. They weren't sure who was going to play third base. Kurt Suzuki had lost some of his zip behind the plate.
Question marks in the pitching staff because they traded away all their best pitchers. I thought worst record in the American League. For sure. That was something that was a given. And they were going to build to, compete in 2 or 3 years with all the young players.
Well, I think that's exactly what Billy Beane had on his mind. He had traded veterans, Gio Gonzalez, Trevor Cahill, Andrew Bailey, and he had acquired prospects. And he went out and brought in Tommy Malone from Washington, Jared Parker. But you look at this. The Texas Rangers were in first place for every day from April 9th to the end of this ball game today. First place.
First place.
Not just first place. I mean, they didn't. And at one point, the Athletics were 13 games back. But it's all academic now, and I tell you one thing, they're dancing around the clubhouse right now in Oakland.
And they have the best record in the American League.
Right past Morrow's glove into center field. Ben Revere has his second hit of the night. Yeah, that's an interesting fact too. Right now they are 94-68. The Yankees have 94 wins, so they can tie. So it's pretty interesting that the Oakland Athletics, first time since '06, going to the postseason.
Congratulations to them. Billy Beane and Bob Melvin and the rest of that bunch. Job well done.
Bob Melvin's done a terrific job with that team. And we all know that it's not the easiest place in the world to manage. Billy Beane likes to put his fingerprints all over that team, and you don't have to really buy into the entire story of Moneyball, but that's a lot of the truth. And he wanted to put his fingerprints on who played, when they played, where they hit, and all of that. So give Bob Melvin a lot of credit.
Yep. Coaching staff and those pitchers, and they've got some power.
All right, there are two key acquisitions I think that they made, and one of them came mid-season when they picked up Brandon Inge from the Tigers. And Inge brought instant credibility and swagger to a young team. And he stepped on the field and played great defense, got big hits. He had a grand slam off the Blue Jays to walk him off. And then he dislocated his shoulder, so he's unavailable. But you saw in the game today, sitting right there in the top step with his teammates. Another guy I think had a lot of that swagger was Johnny Gomes. He had bounced around with Cincinnati most recently, Washington, came up with Tampa Bay, and Grant Balfour came from Tampa Bay.
Veterans with winning attitudes I don't want to say they willed them to win, but they taught them how to win.
Well, there's you got to go out and play. There's no question about it. You just can't put a bunch of good guys together and say, oh, they've won before, so they'll win again. I mean, you have to have a good season. And a couple of things happened that didn't distract them. They lost Bartolo Colon to a suspension for PED. They lost Brett Anderson. There goes the runner. Mauer fouls it back. Anderson came back from Tommy John. Then he hurt his oblique muscle. He threw on Monday and threw a bullpen session and thought he was going to be okay. But Tuesday, he felt some soreness.
Yeah, can still feel it a little bit.
So they lost some key parts. And then Brandon McCarthy got a fractured skull. Got hit in the head on a comebacker off the bat of Eric Ibar. They lost him. He was one of their anchors. He was one of the veteran starters they had in the rotation. And I'll tell you another guy that deserves a lot of credit. Kurt Young, the pitching coach. Mauer takes ball 4. The first 2 reach here in the 4th.
The all-new 2012 Honda CR-V. Yeah, it does that. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Ben Revere single, Joe Mauer walk. Now Chris Parmelee will bat nobody out. Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead. I'm going to give you another thought about the Oakland Athletics. Last year, Oakland was 74-88. 20-game improvement.
Are you going there with the Blue Jays?
No, I'm just telling you that if you do your work and you put together good pitching staffs, you got a chance to turn things around quickly.
That's what this whole thing is all about.
Pitching.
Their ability to turn some of their all-star players into bunches of good players to fill up some holes.
Gio Gonzalez went to Washington. They got young pitching prospects and a catcher, Derek Norris, in return. Trevor Cahill was traded to Arizona. And they traded Andrew Bailey, their closer. Brought back Josh Reddick. And Reddick had a great season. 30 home run season. Drove in over 80 runs.
They also had a couple of very astute pickups. You mentioned the Brandon Inge signing after Detroit let him go. How about Stephen Drew to play shortstop for him? How about signing Yoenis Cespedes? That was a pretty good move.
Well, he turned into a very good player. Got some big hits for them. Nobody really thought the Stephen Drew move was going to have an impact. Stephen Drew had some big hits for them and stabilized the position at short. 1-2, nobody out. Ben Revere at second, Mauer at first. There's a strike. Parmalee checked his swing. He is called out looking at strike 3. And he'll walk back to the dugout shaking his head for a second time.
Yeah, the second time that Brandon Morrow got him with the fastball. Comes back with that high hard one with some good movement. I think that's a called strike. Got plenty of the plate. They didn't ask down to see if it was a check swing. I think he called that a strike. High strike. So Morrow now has 6 strikeouts.
Just 1 out in the 4th. Trevor Proof was a strikeout victim. Texas Rangers will be a wild card team, and they have announced their starter for the wild card game on Friday. It'll be Yu Darvish. And he kind of had some physical problems down the stretch. Had a little shoulder problem. They skipped him a start. All hands on deck now.
Yeah, I don't care if you're a starter, whatever. Everybody is going to be in there.
Well, one of our great baseball minds on this TV crew is Mike Sparks, who runs the tape room. And Mike asked you a question about what would you do if you were in a situation like Texas or the Yankees should there be a playoff game? Would you save CC Sabathia to start the first game of the division series? Or would you use him in that winner-go-home game?
I think that's a slam dunk. You might not get into that ALDS. You've got to pitcher number 1 in that one-game playoff. It's razor thin. It's win or go home. At least in the ALDS, you have 5 games that you can use your guy.
Well, and think about it. You just never know if that CC gets off to a rough start. What are you going to do? But he's your best. And I tell you what, I think you really encourage your opponents if you hold your number 1 back for that next game when there might not be a next game.
You know, he was also talking about if there is a play-in game on Thursday and you had a choice with CC Sabathia or holding him back for the wild card game. I think you got to pitch your number 1 guy again.
Yeah. If he's on proper rest or maybe even 1 day short rest, you got to run him out there. I mean, the guys have confidence. So just think about it if it were a Brandon Morrow situation for John Farrell. Right now, Brandon Morrow is undoubtedly the ace of the staff, the power arm. You want him pitching that game that could determine your postseason future.
I'll worry about the next game. Let me worry about today first. I'm going with my number 1.
In the regular season, you can think like that. Not in the postseason. And not in a playoff scenario. Matt Carson a little bit over aggressive as he chases a pitch that might have been out of the strike zone.
And that was a fastball, too. He was sitting on a fastball. Morrow threw one down and away. His best games for Brandon Morrow is when he's been able to stay on that outside corner of those right-handers with his fastball. And then he can throw that slider to him to pick up the punch-out.
I always go back to that game he threw against the Angels out in Anaheim on the 3rd of May. That, to me, was the benchmark game for Brandon this season. 9 innings, 3 hits. He didn't walk a batter and struck out 8 in 102 pitches.
102 pitches in 9 innings. He just kept throwing strike one.
Bouncing ball. Laurie comes after it. Second for one. Echeverria to first, and Gomes can't come up with it. Well, Laurie made a good stop and a throw. Echeverria with a good turn, but the throw was in the dirt and handcuffed Yan Gomes. They had Carson by plenty, but Gomes couldn't dig out the low throw.
Yeah, you're right. Plenty of time because Brett Laurie attacks it, gives a good throw to Echeverria. This is where the problem was right there. Just the unfamiliarity of turning the double play as a second baseman, where you're coming across the bag and now you got to throw across your body across the field. Just not familiar with that.
This is his 8th start at second base. He played some second base in the minor leagues this year and played a little second base back in spring training, but he is a natural shortstop. To give you an idea how challenging that is to switch from shortstop to second, the great Tony Fernandez never got comfortable playing second. He never could get comfortable with that runner to his back. And that's what Echeverria had to deal with right there.
Well, think about it. As a shortstop, you always have that runner coming at you. You're setting your sights. You're looking right at him. As a second baseman, your focus is on that ball that's coming at you. You just have to have a feel for where that runner is. And what you want to do when you try to speed it up, you catch it, throw it, and try and get out of the way. But Danny Echeverria had plenty of time there. The runner wasn't on top of him. He had a little bit more time than he thought. The unfamiliarity of playing the position.
Eduardo Escobar, switch hitter, is battling Brandon Morrow. Escobar struck out his first time up. Escobar was acquired by the Twins in a trade with the Chicago White Sox for Francisco Liriano. He's a good little utility type player. Can play second as he is tonight. He's made 2 starts at third and 3 starts at shortstop. One and two, 2 outs, runners at the corners. Struck him out. But Brandon Morrow elevates the fastball. The Twins cut into the lead. Jays have a 2-1 lead. Miguel Cabrera was into the box in Kansas City, and just watching the replay, he just flies out to center. Scott Diamond trailing 2-1 as he's set to start the bottom of the 4th inning. Miguel Cabrera flied out to center field in his first at-bat. We'll keep you updated all night long as he is in pursuit of the first Triple Crown since 1967, when the Red Sox Carl Yastrzemski won the Triple Crown.
I like that he's playing. I was reading some places where he said he might, not play to assure himself that he would win the Triple Crown, but I like that he's out there to take it away.
Yeah, Jim Leyland contemplated DH, and he said, I don't want DH. I'm a baseball player. I'm going to play third base. Got a little cushion in the RBI department. Also got a cushion in the batting race. Ball on a strike to Adam Lind. Then walked his first time up. Deep drive to left. Lind jumped on it, top of the fence. Lind is headed for second. He'll stop at first as that ball hit right on top of the fence and stayed in the ballpark. Matt Carson made a nice play as that ball bounced right to him. But you can't hit it any higher on the fence without it going out.
Yeah, just a couple of inches, a matter of inches. We've seen Adam Lind do this. The inside-out swing right down the line. And right off the top of the fence. There's a bar at the top of that fence that can push it either back into play like that happened or bounce off the top of it for a home run. In the books, it will go as a long single for Lind.
Carson got a good bounce right there, and you can see that metal bar behind the padding gives it support, and it hit right on top of the padding and kept it in the ballpark. That's a bad break. Just a couple of inches, and Lind would have had his 12th homer. But the leadoff man is on. Yan Gomes hit into a double play his first time up. Waves at that changeup.
Making some changes to his swing. He has eliminated his higher leg kick because he felt like the pitchers were starting to throw the breaking ball and it wasn't helping him. And it paid off in his last game when he pinch hit at homer.
Ground ball. Escobar. Florimon. Back to first Parmalee, and it's a 4-6-3 double play. Gomes has grounded into 2 double plays. Diamond did a good job using that changeup and then got Gomes to hit that sinking fastball right at the second baseman. J.P. Arancibia, as he did back in the second, steps in the batter's box with 2 outs. Diamond's done a good job of pitching ahead tonight. He's thrown 13 of 15 first pitch strikes. I don't care how hard you throw or how good your stuff is. If you pitch ahead, you're going to have a chance to succeed.
Yep. You get that batter on his heels. You start expanding that strike zone when you get ahead. He's got a good feel for pitching. I had a chance to watch him in his last start against the Blue Jays back in May. And one thing I noticed, he can get his curveball over, throw his changeup over. He throws to all quadrants of the strike zone. He just doesn't pound the same spot over and over.
1-2, 2 outs. Blue Jays have a 2-1 lead. And Arancibia picked up on that changeup and laid off. JP, when he first came off the disabled list, had a 2 for 37 stretch. And it was wearing on him. But then he got things sorted out in Baltimore and has had a good run to wrap up his season.
Felt like the timing is starting to come back. And shooting a lot of balls to right field with 2 strikes.
In that Baltimore series, he had a pinch hit, and not actually a pinch hit. His first at bat came in the 9th inning against Jim Johnson. He had come into the game as a defensive replacement. Then he had 3 hits in a nightcap and had a grand slam. Really started to swing the bat well. Full count. Aaron Seavey lifts a high fly ball into center. Bernard Span moving to his right. The inning is over. We have played 4 here at Rogers Center. It's 2-1 Jays. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. Ontario, and our Tony Ambrosio standing by with Scott's parents.
They've been coming to Jays games in the past, cheering for the Blue Jays, but tonight, Sally and Jerry are cheering, of course, for Scott. And did you ever think this day would come, Sally, that he'd be pitching in the big leagues here in Toronto?
We always hoped for it.
What kind of gave you that hope that it might happen?
Just a long-term goal of Scott's. And we just feel very blessed that he's worked so hard to get this far. He's had an amazing education at Binghamton University and with fabulous teams here in Ontario, and he's just had a great run.
Jerry, for you, what does it mean to you to see your son pitch in a big league game here in Toronto?
Well, I guess there aren't words to describe it. It's been unbelievable. His ride, again, as Sally mentioned, he's worked very, very hard to get here. But again, he's had a lot of people that have been very supportive along the way, coaches, friends, families that have made things work for him. So very lucky, but again, it's a phenomenal experience.
Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the game, guys. Thank you very much. Back to you, Buck.
Thank you, Tony, and it is a great story. And Scott Diamond didn't get drafted out of high school, went to Binghamton University in New York and got a chance to pitch there. And then it was during his summer league team, and he was playing and really got recognized by the Braves. Just popped up. Jan Gomes makes a nice play. Gomes makes good play on Drew Butera for the first out of the 5th. But Scott Diamond was a minor league player with the Braves, and the Twins identified him as somebody they wanted to pick up. They took him in the Rule 5 draft. And then Terry Ryan, during spring training, recognized what a special talent he was, and they worked out a trade with the Braves so they could keep Diamond in the organization. And that proved to be a very prudent move.
Do you know what the odds are for a pitcher to go undrafted and then sign with a big league organization and then work your way to the big leagues? The odds were stacked against him, so good for him sticking right with it.
Omar Vizquel goes out, Pedro Florimon. 2 outs. Jamie Campbell's got an update. And at the same time, the New York Yankees have a 5-1 lead over the Red Sox, bottom of the 4th in the Bronx. And if those scores hold up, the Yankees will win the American League East and the Orioles will be the wild card. So the Texas Rangers and the Baltimore Orioles will meet in the wild card game.
And Texas would have the same record as Baltimore. They would both have 93 victories. And I don't even want to get into where that game would be played. What's the tiebreaker? How did they figure that out?
I think the tiebreaker is the head-to-head matchup during the course of the season. And I've been checking so many scenarios trying to figure out where I'm going. And I think the Rangers have the tiebreaker over the Orioles, but I'm not sure. We're going to check that out. But I've got a paper that has about 18 different scenarios about the matchups, who's going where, wild card games, playoff games, and all of that.
Could you imagine if the Texas Rangers have to go on the road?
Good play by Yan Gomes. He makes 2 fine defensive plays in the inning in support of Brandon Morrow. Morrow bounces back a 9-pitch inning, puts down the Twins in the 5th. Record-setting jump from the edge of space. Sportsnet will broadcast live Felix Baumgartner's free fall from 120,000 feet. He'll look to become the first person to break the speed of sound. Tune in Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. Pacific on Sportsnet or watch on sportsnet.ca. Tabby, that kind of reminds me like the edge walk we did, huh? Maybe not 120,000 feet, but maybe we should try that one of these days.
Wait a minute. Time out. Don't give anybody any ideas.
That would be a bad idea, huh?
120,000 feet.
Wow, good luck to Felix. That's coming up Monday at 8 a.m. Now, why would somebody sit around and say, I think that'd be a good idea?
120,000 feet?
Yeah.
All right, wait a minute. When we take the charter, we're what, 30,000?
Yeah.
So four times that? No thanks.
No. Omar Vizquel. Fly ball to left. Matt Carson hits there, and Vizquel is retired. He's gone 0 for 2. Omar Vizquel starting at shortstop in his final big league game, putting a capper on a 24-year career. Lots of family, friends in from Venezuela, and they are carrying this broadcast live back to Venezuela. He wants to stay in baseball. He'd like to manage one day.
I asked him if he'd want to ever do television, because he's a character. I mean, he's got a great personality. And he says, I couldn't do that. I couldn't wear the suit. I got to wear the uniform and be around the game day in and day out.
Hang in there, Martin. You'll be all right. I know you got the good hands, and that foul ball wasn't going to get you. Look at him. He never lost his focus. He's still on Vizquel. Great cameraman, Martin, down there forever and ever. Right. Moises Sierra is in a hole, 1-2, 1 out. They're in the bottom of the 5th. There's a base hit into left field for Sierra.
Flipping that breaking ball up there with 2 strikes, and it helps that he can stay back just a little bit longer. You see, double clutch right there with his front foot, but he kept his hands back and ended up giving a base hit.
Sierra's going to play winter ball in his native Dominican Republic. He's going to go down there and start right at the beginning of the season. And he said later on I might lose some playing time because Nelson Cruz is my teammate. But I think that would be a great opportunity for him to work with Nelson Cruz. They're very similar in their styles of hitting, but they play on the same team in winter ball, and I can see an awful lot of Nelson Cruz in Moises Sierra.
Yeah, he reminds a lot of baseball players of a Nelson Cruz, and if he can go out to the batting cage with him every single day, and he can learn from him, he's got a chance, I think, to be a fine major league player. He's got some tools, as they say, that he can work with.
Well, there's one tool that everybody must have to excel in the major leagues, and that's the want to. You got to have the want to. I mean, a lot of guys get up here and say, well, this is a great lifestyle. And John Farrell said it the other day, and I thought it was very appropriate. He says you have to play baseball with a passion. You can't use baseball as a vehicle to a lifestyle. And I thought that was very appropriate. Jim Thome told us that in Baltimore the other day. Jim Thome, like Omar Vizquel, spent a lot of time in Cleveland on those great teams. And Thome, we asked him about young players in this game today. And he said young players have a tendency to want to get all the acclaim before they earn it.
And he said just play the game, and everything else will take care of itself. And he is right on with that one. Baseball is not a vehicle to a lifestyle.
1-2, 1 out. Anthony Gose tripled his last time up. Ball was bounced in the dirt. Sierra got a good read, and he'll move to second. That breaking ball bounced in the dirt. It'll be a wild pitch on Scott Diamond. Sierra gets himself into scoring position. That eliminates the possibility of a double play.
You know, and for a big man, he can run. I talked the other night about his power. He's got that. He's got a little speed also. He just has to refine a few things in his game, but he's got a chance to be pretty good.
Anthony Gose with a chance to drive in a run. This has been a great opportunity for these young players. Anthony Gose, his numbers with runners in scoring position, just under 300. Hits it to third. Proof quickly to his feet, just in time to get Gose. Sierra moves to third, 2 down.
The all-new 2012 Honda CR-V. Yeah, it does that. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Edwin Encarnacion's jersey has been a popular one all season long.
I think if Anthony Gose continues this approach at the plate, slapping the ball to left field when he's got 2 strikes, a good 2-strike approach, I think he's going to hit for a high average because he can run. That time it almost squeaked through the left side, but he was on that pitch. It was a 3-2 breaking ball, and he stayed on it, almost got a hit.
I like that approach. If he takes that approach to hitting the ball hard on the ground toward the shortstop, he's going to hit 300. And he's going to be able to then move the ball around to the pulled side of the diamond as he gains more experience. He'll just know which pitches to pull and which to go the other way. When you think about it, boy, he has grown right before your eyes. Anthony playing in his 56th game. That's invaluable experience.
Yeah.
Coming into this game, he had 163 at-bats.
You know, with all the problems that the Blue Jays have had this year with their share of their injuries, one shining thing that has come through is some of the young prospects have had a chance to get their feet wet at the big league level. Just dip your toes in the cold water.
Well, and you know what? You get a taste of the good life. And taking this last pitch is up and in. Davis has to bail out in a hurry. But again, we reference Alex Anthopoulos as he addressed the media today and kind of gave a status report of the organization. He said, my #1 preference would be improved to the point where these young kids go back to AAA, where they get a chance to go back and grow a little bit more. And that would then suggest that you've improved your club in the big leagues. But can you imagine how hungry these guys would be if they got sent back to AAA, and how now they know what they need to work on?
Yeah.
Now they know what it is to be in the big leagues and what that might do to help them really develop.
Yeah, and how hard they would play to get back here.
Fly ball to right field. Ben Revere moves underneath it. Blue Jays will leave a runner at third. They still hold a 2-1 lead. We are headed for the 6th. Home run with Sharp contest has come to a close, and Sharp wants to thank everyone who participated in this year's contest. Today, Sharp gave away their biggest prize to one lucky winner. Congratulations to Rick Young from Dundas, Ontario. He has won a 90-inch Sharp Aquos LED TV. Visit hitahomerunwithsharp.ca to view all of the lucky winners this past season. Congratulations to Rick Young from Dundas. Ben Revere, the #2 hitter.
Got to figure out how to get this guy out. Ben Revere has 7 hits this series. 7 for 11. Look at his average now, 293.
Finishing up on a real high note. Make it 8 for 12. Pat, I think you got to go down there and help him out. Need a new game plan.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't need to help out Ben Revere. He's got it figured out. 8 singles in these 3 games now. This one just like his last one, right back through the middle. Got a lot of movement in that swing, but he gets the barrel to the ball.
Well, one good thing is, as good as Revere is at stealing bases, Blue Jays have caught him twice. Last night they caught him twice. Loop got him in the 6th. Darren Oliver got him in the 8th. He broke for second, and both the lefties went to first. Revere has 40 steals. Moore does a nice job of shutting down the running game. He has a good feel for it. Probably has to do with the fact that he worked out the bullpen at the start of his career. Oftentimes was in the game with base runners. Obviously, big news around baseball is the fact that the A's won the AL West. And we have the Twins right here, 2006 Twins. And the 1951 Giants have joined the A's now. The A's have joined those other two teams as the only teams whose only day alone in first place was the last day of the season. Think about that.
All right, I know what 1951 was, right? That was the shot heard around the world.
Bobby Thompson.
Bobby Thompson. 2006 Minnesota Twins.
Minnesota Twins. Minnesota Twins played 2 playoff games. The Tigers, they beat the Tigers.
That's right.
And the other one, they lost 1-0 to the White Sox. Jim Thome hit a solo home run, the only run in the ball game.
Game 163. They had to go. That's right. Okay, a little playoff game, if you will.
Ron Gardenhire was expressing his thoughts about the wild card. He said, "I've been there before. It's no fun." That one game where winner go home, man, he's been through it twice, and he's 1-1. 2 balls and a strike to Joe Mauer. Blue Jays have handled Joe Mauer very effectively in this series. I think Ben Revere has taken all of the hits out of the batter's box before Joe steps in.
Well, he's certainly done that. 3 hits again this afternoon, or this evening. 3 hits yesterday. And now Morrow's got to be very careful with Joe Mauer. Runner on base.
There goes Revere. He got a good jump, and it's ball 4. So Mauer has walked his last 2 at-bats. This is the same way that the 4th inning started, and the Twins scored their only run of the game in the 4th. Revere singled, Mauer walked.
And they almost got out of that. They got a strikeout on Parmalee. Another walk and then a ground ball. Looked like it was going to be double play to get out of the inning. Blue Jays couldn't turn it. Minnesota scored their only run.
Chris Parmalee has been called out on strikes twice. I bet you he's ready to swing.
Ready to jump all over that first pitch fastball. So they throw him a changeup.
Good job by Morrow. Got ahead with that changeup. Boy, that has been a good pitch for him. The development of the changeup, probably the biggest improvement in his overall game.
Do you remember the game we did in spring training when Brandon Morrow pitched? And he basically threw changeups and curveballs. And that's what spring training is all about, where you refine that pitch. And then I think the last inning, if I remember, he just reared back and was just throwing his fastball. But those first few innings, it was changeup, curveball. And he really got a handle on those pitches. And it's just made him a complete pitcher, I think.
Bruce Walton and Brandon Morrow have worked hard, and they have done a great job of refining Morrow as a starter. 0-2. Strike 3. Chris Parmalee forgot his trigger tonight. That's the 3rd time he's caught looking at strike 3.
And it's also the 3rd time that he's been caught with a fastball. Morrow down at the knee. Parmalee thinks it's under the knees. Brandon picks up the strikeout. And they are getting...
Parmalee saying, you call one up in my neck, you call one down on my shoe tops, and make up your mind. Morrow, as Pat mentioned, 8 strikeouts now. His season high was 10. Laurie at 3rd, goes to 2nd for 1. Up to 1st, a high throw, and again, Echeverria not really comfortable with that pivot. Brett Laurie gave him a great feed. And Laurie has been able to do that since he's come to the big leagues. He unloads quickly, makes a strong throw.
Boy, this is, again, just like the 4th inning. He gets to it, gets rid of it quickly. This time, Echeverria's got the bag underneath him. But again, he is going towards the ball, and he's got to come back around and throw over towards first base. Not used to it. That time it's high. Yeah, it looked like Trevor Plouffe might have hit that bag awkwardly. Breaking ball hanger. See what happens when he gets down to that bag.
Yeah, he felt something give as he hit hard on that bag, trying to beat out the return throw from second. Gonna jog down the right field line, see if he can stay in this game. I'm sure Plouffe would like to stay in this ballgame. He has 19 home runs.
You know, I played third base, and then I went over and played second base, and it's not as easy as people think. You might say, well, hey, it's a shorter throw. But there's a certain release point, and there's a certain throw you have to make that's different from the left side of the infield and the right side of the infield. And I understand what Echeverria is going through in second. He is a fine athlete, and he's going to make a very good big league infielder. But these are all the things that you have to practice. He's been taking ground balls at short, and he's been practicing at second base for a little bit. But in game situations, a little bit different.
So Plouffe is out of the game. Alexi Casilla takes over as a pinch runner at first. Casilla started at second base in last night's game. 2 outs. Ben Revere's at third. The pinch runner, Alexi Casilla, at first. J.P. Arencibia out in front of home plate, giving the infield defense the play should there be a break from first by Casilla. First and third defense. Ball on strike to the left fielder, Matt Carson. Boy, that is a tough pitch. Tight spin, and you know what it's like. I mean, you have hit against pitchers that will throw that real loose spinning breaking ball, and you can see the spin right away. But that's not the case with Morrow.
Out of his hand, it looks like a fastball. You see when he gets his fingers on top of that and he drives that ball towards home plate. As a hitter, you see fastball out of his hand. So you read that, you start to swing, and all of a sudden, about halfway towards home plate, you see slider, and it's tough to hold up on that ball.
Morrow ahead 1-2. Delayed steal, and Casilla pulls it off perfectly. He didn't break on Morrow's first move. He bounced off first and then took off and steals it easily.
1, 2, 3 bounces, and then you're off. And Blue Jays give it to him.
Two and two. Slider. Carson strikes out. Brandon Morrow strands a pair. 9 strikeouts for Morrow. Slider takes care of Matt Carson. Morrow's one off his season high in Ks. Welcome back to Rogers Center as Alex Burnett comes into this game. Second time he's pitched in this series. He pitched in the opener. This is his 67th start. Danny Echeverria grounded out for the first out of the bottom of the sixth. So we'll go back to Kansas City when Cabrera comes to the plate in the next half inning. He was left on deck. So we'll make sure that we give you all the Cabrera at bats tonight.
I want to see him.
Yeah.
As a baseball fan, we get a chance to watch it here at the ballpark. I mean, you're seeing something that hasn't happened for 45 years in baseball. A chance for the Triple Crown.
McFlory fights it on. We take a look at the Triple Crown categories. Cabrera is first in all three, of course, and is a batting average of .330, 44 home runs. He has a 1 home run lead in that department and a comfortable lead in RBI.
It's one of those rare accomplishments in the game. When you look back over history, how many there are, it's like a 4 home run game. There's so few of those. Triple Crown's perfect games.
Well, I mean, just to give you an idea, 67 was the last Triple Crown. And that was a pretty good player, and that was unusual in that in 66, Frank Brownson had a Triple Crown for the Orioles. And in 67, Yaz does it, and then there hasn't been one since. McFlory strikes out. The inside fastball gets him. That's the second out of the inning. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. They get a comfortable lead over the Red Sox while Tampa Bay leads Baltimore 3-0 top of the sixth. Evan Longoria's hit 2 home runs in that game. Robinson Cano is 3 for 3. His 9th straight multi-hit game, the longest streak by a Yankee since Bernie Williams had 10 straight multi-hit games in 2002.
Wow. We knew he was hot when he was here. And Jamie, nothing against you or Zonnie, but I need a day off.
Yeah, you're going to sleep in tomorrow.
Yeah. So we'll see you on Friday, big guy.
Looks like that's the way it's going to be, but you never know. The Red Sox were close to closing out the Yankees last night in the 9th inning. Adam Lynn missed a home run to the opposite field by inches his last time up. He had a long single off the top of the fence in left field.
Don't you think the Blue Jays would like to have that run? Went off the inning with the single and couldn't get him around to score. He came that close with that shot of where that ball ripped off the top of that wall.
Well, that was a little bit more like his swing in 2009. Hit right off the top of the fence in left field. And that's the way he covered that outer half plate, and was always a threat to go opposite field. This time he pulls it on the ground. Parmalee will shovel to Alex Burnett. Quick inning. Burnett comes out of the bullpen and retires the Blue Jays in order. We'll go to 7th. It's a 2-1 game. Brandon Morrow with the lead.
The all-new 2012 Honda CR-V. Yeah, it does that. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
More Major League Baseball on Sportsnet. You can see the Tigers in Kansas City and Miguel Cabrera's pursuit of the Triple Crown right now on Sportsnet 1. And we're talking about the Triple Crown winners. When you start at 1900 and go forward from there, a lot of people use that as the benchmark for the modern era. Nap Lajoie, the Athletics won, and Ty Cobb, Rogers Hornsby won it twice in 22 and 25. Ted Williams won it twice in 42 and 47. Mickey Mantle in 56. Frank Robinson in 66. Carl Yastrzemski. There's some great names. Lou Gehrig won it in 34. Jimmy Fox in 33. Chuck Klein also in 33. I mean, it's a little bit more common then because there weren't the number of power hitters.
That's right.
When you look at the numbers, Joe Medwick in 37 hit 374, had 31 home runs, 154 ribbies. That's a triple crown. Off-speed pitch, and Escobar strikes out here, and Sebia holds on to the foul tip. When you look at some of the early numbers, Ty Cobb, for instance, in 1909, he had 377, 9 homers, and 107 RBIs. I mean, the home run wasn't a big deal then. But when you talk about Miguel Cabrera, and Jim Leland has been talking about it for the last few days, obviously, he says his teammates really want him to win it. I mean, it's a tremendous thing to be part of. And Cabrera wants to win it, obviously. But I thought Cabrera was very classy and reflects what he's all about. When he said, hey, the most important thing is us going to the World Series. But it means a lot to me if I can win a Triple Crown. I mean, think about it. Compared to Frank Robinson, Mickey Mantle, Lou Gehrig, Ted Williams.
How many times has it been done in big league history? Maybe 13 or 14 times all together.
It just doesn't happen, obviously, 45 years.
And it's, I think, tougher today because of, you know, all the scouting reports are out there and the crazy defenses that you're seeing, the specialization and the pitchers. Ball's lifted to left field. Omar Vizquel. Patented play with his back to the infield.
And you can see both Rajay Davis and Anthony Gross kind of pulled out of the way so these fans could be treated to one more Omar Vizquel moment.
He made that play famous when he was with the Cleveland Indians.
11-time Gold Glove winner. 9 straight Gold Gloves in the American League. Bouncing ball. Big hop for Echeverria. Morrow has a good inning. One more look at a future Hall of Famer. Putting a little trademark on this catch. Omar Vizquel. tonight for Omar Vizquel. He has set the bar very high for shortstops. Only Ozzie Smith has more Gold Gloves at shortstop than Omar Vizquel. Jan Gomes gets sawed off. He is out, first out of the 7th inning. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. And you have to believe that the Tampa Bay Rays are thinking, what if? What if Evan Longoria hadn't missed 85 games this year with that torn hamstring? They had the best pitching in baseball.
What if in that 22-game stretch they didn't go 11-11 with the great pitching that they had, if they had won 4 or 5 more games? And what is it with the last day of the regular season and Evan Longoria? How does he do it?
Last year he hit 2 in that great game against the Yankees and a walk-off home run to secure their position in the postseason. Omar Vizquel standing on deck in what is likely his final major league game. J.P. Arancibia strikes out for a second time tonight. Omar Vizquel will come to the
shortstop. Number 13, Omar Vizquel.
See how difficult it is for Vizquel to concentrate. This could be his last big league at bat. Alone in 40th place on the all-time hit list, Omar Vizquel has just broken the tie with Mel Ott. When you think about Vizquel, the first thing that you think of, the Gold Gloves. But now, 2,877 career hits, 40th all by himself.
And passing some greats of the game this year. And we've had the best seat in the house to watch it all year long.
Moises Sierra strikes out, but the night belongs to Omar Vizquel. He gets a base hit in what might be his final big league at bat to take sole possession of the 40th spot on the all-time hit list. Brandon Morrow has had a fine outing to wrap up his season. 7 innings, 3 hits. He has allowed an earned run, 3 walks, and 10 strikeouts. He's thrown 100 pitches. The 10 strikeouts matches his season high. He did that back in Oakland in just 6 innings.
You know, you can tell early on that he was locked in. He used his fastball early in the game, and he kept back that slider for those big situations where he needed a strikeout.
Yeah, he had good stuff from the first pitch of this ball game, and you could see it in his body. He had a lot of life in his body and finished up the pitches very well. I mean, this is what happened to him last year. He finished up September on a real high note, and he carried that momentum right into spring training. And hopefully that'll be the case again this year. Bunted foul by Bernard Span. 10 strikeouts for Morrow. It's the 8th time he's had 10 or more strikeouts in a game in his career. Of course, his career high is 17. He had that great one-hitter against Tampa Bay, had 17 strikeouts. But this is what he's capable of doing on any given night.
Yep. Yeah, you just watch him in that first inning, and if he's got, like you said, that good life to his fastball, and he's painting the corners with it. In reserve, he's got that wipeout slider that he can use to get strikeouts.
Well, I think one thing that Morrow has really recognized here in his 3rd season is the fact that if he doesn't have a slider, he's got the changeup. If he doesn't have the changeup, he's got the curveball. If he doesn't have the curveball, the changeup, or the slider, he's got that good heater he can lean on for a couple innings and get him through those 2 innings until the other pitches come around.
And if there's guys on base, he can reach back and dial it up a notch.
You have faced great pitchers throughout your career, and every pitcher was a challenge to me, but I'm not talking about you. When you have a pitcher that can throw 4 pitches over, I mean, that's got to be the most difficult challenge for a hitter.
Yeah, how do you hit them all? And you can't go up there thinking about hitting them all. Does Morrow remind you of anybody? How free and how easy and how his ball's very crisp at times.
Little looper. Echeverria gets over, makes the running catch. Span is retired.
Enter the Train Like the Blue Jays Brett Laurie contest today at BlueJays.com. Presented by Sport Check. Your better starts here.
Indoor baseball at Rogers Center tonight. Brandon Morrow is dealing. 3 hits. He's limited the Twins to 3 hits. And you could say it's all this guy.
Yeah.
Glenn Revere has all 3 hits.
Got to figure out how to get him out. Morrow, in a way, for me, reminds me a little bit of Roy Halladay. How tall he stands on the mound and when he delivers the ball. And he's in one of these type of games. He seems to put so much pressure on the batter that he's going to win the game. He's just going to dominate guys. The only difference I see from Halladay and Morrow right now is Halladay's fastball can really cut.
And seeing Miguel Cabrera is at the plate in Kansas City. Number 11. Revere finally retired by Morrow.
And he does it with that great slider. Revere got 3 hits off the fastball. They finally throw him a breaking ball, and he swings right over the top of it. They're getting very creative down there.
There's a special K in the middle. 11 strikeouts. You were right on the money. They're going to have to come up with some different Ks. They were going to run out tonight. Fly ball to left. Brandon Morrow is dealing. Miguel Cabrera struck out in Kansas City. He's 0 for 2 tonight. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Brandon Morrow in total control. Started tonight against the Blue Jays. He goes 5 innings, allows 5 hits, gave up 2 earned runs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. His game score was over the average at 51 through 80 pitches. Remember, he got hit on his leg early in the ball game, stayed in the ball game. Didn't appear as though he had any problems with that. And after all, he gave up just 2 earned runs in his 5 innings of work tonight.
That was the first batter of the game. Rajai Davis was robbed of a hit as he kicked one over the first baseman on a hard ground ball. Stayed into the ball game, but now Luis Perdomo will be the 3rd Twins pitcher of the night. 14 games. There's Perdomo with his fastball slider split. A little bit of a problem getting the ball over at times. 8 strikeouts and 12 walks for Perdomo this year.
Perdomo got hit by a comebacker earlier in this series. He was hitting on a hot shot on his leg and stayed in the ball game. Anthony Gose. Anthony has tripled and scored. He's also grounded out. Average at 224. It's the 8th inning. We are in our final broadcast of the year. Pat, I'd like to thank you for all your efforts this year. It's been a great season. We've had a lot of fun doing these games, and I appreciate everything you do to help me out on a daily basis. It's been a real good year.
I thank you. Also, I can't picture myself being anywhere else for 6 months of the year. And right here with all the guys, and I'm going to miss being around all the guys.
Well, not for a while. You won't miss them for a while. Huh? You'll be happy to be home just like me. It's been a long season. But we got to remember our friend up here in the booth, Scott Carson, who makes us all look brilliant. Scotty, another great year by you. We appreciate that. Best in the business. He's the king of all stats, and he tells us every single day.
Yeah, just ask him.
And, of course, we don't want to forget the people in the truck. Our producer and director, Doug Walton, and Jeff Mather. Troy Clare is also involved in the directing, and Mike Sparks, and all the people, Pat Denardis down in the tape room, and Dan and Kevin and everybody that helps us out, all the camera people. I have a chance to work all over the country and do baseball games, and there's not a finer crew than all these people right here at Rogers Center. We want to thank you all for your efforts. It's been another great season.
Yeah, we got Dave Schick down in the truck. We got Andrew Stokes in the audio room. We got Mike and Terry up here every day. We get to see them.
Rick Briggs-Jude is also one of the producers that works with us and been in business a long time. But it's a great crew, and we appreciate your efforts. And hopefully we'll be able to do this again. Stephanie always does a great job. And everybody involved. And
Did Todd Did Todd ever survive that hit out there the other day?
Well, you know what? He's showing signs of vertigo from time to time. Well, maybe not, but he's okay. He got hit by that hot shot out in the center, and we appreciate all the efforts. And these guys love the game as much as we do. These guys and girls come here every single day, and they're great baseball people. They're fans of the game.
Teddy
has got great hands over there, never lose focus, never loses the baseball, and every once in a while, Ryan down at low home, and Ryan does a great job. He knows all the baseball players because he's right there in the on-deck circle. Fly ball to right. Ben Revere moves over, makes the catch, 2 outs. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Hard to believe we're putting another season to bed. And that's our old friend Tim, who has been around here a long time, and he loves baseball, I'll tell you that. He has been part of this crew for many years, and we appreciate everybody's effort. Of course, Martin and I go way back. I don't even want to tell you where we started. But Martin has a different perspective on things because he's down there low third, and the game is fast for him. He knows exactly how fast it is, and he had an interesting perspective on Anthony Ghost the other day. He said nobody runs as fast first to third as Anthony Ghost because he has to pan and trail him around the bases. Popped up. Florimon in shallow left makes the catch, and we will go to the ninth. Blue Jays have a 2-1 lead. Now it's time for a Blue Jay Central update. As Terry has a good focus on things, here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. On his season with 8 strong innings, he allowed just 3 hits. All of those hits by Ben Revere. So he threw a no-hitter to 8 guys tonight.
And it could have been a shutout.
Yeah.
They had a chance to get out of the inning. They just couldn't turn a double play, so that will be a 1 earned run charge to Brandon Morrow. How about his game score?
At an 80 game score. The American League average for starting pitchers' game score is 49. So that was a strong performance by Brandon Morrow. He'll turn things over to Brandon Lyon. This might be Brandon Lyon's last appearance in a Blue Jays uniform. That was his first big league uniform when he first came to this show in 2001. He is a free agent at the end of this season. He'd be a good guy to bring back.
Yeah, and he got his 4th win of the season, the first game in this series on Monday night.
Omar Vizquel, what a capper to a phenomenal career. Starts at shortstop, plays 9 innings, makes a basket catch, and oh, by the way, gets a hit in his final at-bat. Jan Gomes will go to the bag. Parmeling is retired. Omar Vizquel wearing number 13 in his final game, and he shows all of his skills. There's that patented basket catch out into the outfield. And he got a base hit in his last at-bat. He has played flawless in the field. He's been acknowledged by the crowd all night long, and I'm sure he'll have a lot of great thoughts about this final night on a baseball field as a player.
And it's great that his family was here to share it with him. I saw his boy down in the clubhouse today. You could tell he was full of emotion and excitement during this game.
Alexi Casilla batting for a first time, singles into right. Casilla entered the ball game as a pinch runner in the 6th. Remember, it's a 2-1 game. At the end of this ball game, we'll be able to watch some bonus baseball coverage. We will take you to New York for the end of the Red Sox-Yankees game. Yankees currently lead 9-1, bottom of the 6th. Matt Carson goes after the first pitch. Carson is 0 for 3, hit an RBI with the ground. That's the ball that Pat was talking about. Potential double play ball. In the 4th inning, they couldn't turn the double play. That allowed the only Twins run to score.
How about one more shot at it right here? A ground ball to the left side of the infield. Give Echeverria another chance, another shot at it.
Fly ball to right. Sierra backs up a few steps. 2 down. Up down the left side. Laurie giving chase. Echeverria on the warning track, and they can't make the play. Echeverria slid underneath Brent Laurie. They both appear to be okay, but they had a long run chasing that pop-up. Echeverria has moved from second to short. That's his natural position. Mike McCoy came into the game for Omar Vizquel. He moves to second base, and Vizquel will watch and hopefully watch the final out from the dugout. Ball on the strike to Eduardo Escobar. Escobar moved to third base when Casilla entered the game as a pitch runner for Trevor Plouffe. 2-1 ball game. Ground ball. McCoy. This should do it. Blue Jays win. Blue Jays wrap up their 2012 season by sweeping the Twins. Brandon Morrow wins his 10th game of the season. Omar Vizquel goes out on top with a hit in his final at bat.
And a win for the Blue Jays. Let's go back to spring training. The hype that happened, they got off to a decent start. Injuries happened. I think the Blue Jays learned a lot about themselves this season, and I think they can take the problems that they had this year, use that to their advantage, and get ready for 2013. There's a lot of good things about this ball club.
Fans, we want to thank you for a great season. We appreciate you standing by, watching, and turning in every night. And we'll be back next spring from Dunedin, Florida. Thanks for a great season. Stay tuned. Blue Jays Central coming up. Jamie Campbell, Greg Zahn will wrap this one up.